Hey guys, uh, today I'm going to talk about Mars and Cancer and about the concept of pronoia and how that affects my approach to astrology. So I'll start with pronoia, which is the opposite of paranoia, and it's a word that Robert Anton Wilson coined in the 70s, and he wrote the Illuminatus trilogy. And so he's kind of an old school conspiracy theorist, chaos magician. He's just one of these far out minds. And basically, his idea of pronoia is that the universe is always conspiring for us in our favor. The universe is conspiring for our ultimate evolution, our ultimate growth, our highest growth. So I wanted to think about that concept in terms of how I would like to approach astrology. Now, I'm not saying in my daily life that I approach astrology that way all the time. I look at Pluto coming into my sixth house of health for the next 20 years. And, I worry a little bit. Um, but the concept of paranoia is to, you know, look at what ultimately is the highest um, that the highest evolution that Pluto in my sixth house can bring me in terms of my relationship to health, my daily routine, my work service. How can Pluto's tearing down of structures and in my case, I mean, well, in all our cases for the next 20 years, it being in an air sign, mental structures, I think more so, mental structures and maybe, structures in terms of relationships, these are air sign things. So looking at it in that way instead of getting, scared about uh, all the, all the difficult changes that may occur. And, their life is full of difficult changes. So that's just part of life on Earth. But to look at the transits in this way and looking at our birth charts in this way, so why does that um, whatever it is, uh, thing in your chart that you feel brings you so much trouble, what is it calling you to go toward, and yes, it's gonna, be difficult sometimes and take work. But what are those difficult aspects in your chart calling you to grow toward ultimately for your evolution? And in the same by the same token, what are the current transits calling us for? So in my last video on Saturn, I listed a few of those in terms of the Saturn Pisces dichotomy and how those two really divergent archetypes could come together to produce something amazing. Um, and life here is really about um, the sacred marriage. It's about uniting the opposites. So Saturn in Pisces is really the perfect opportunity to do that. So pronoia is a cool word. It's better than paranoia, I think. Uh, and I should know. I've definitely spent a lot of time being paranoid, so I'm gonna try to be try to be more pronoid. That is a weird word. Pronoid. Okay. Pronoia. So let's talk about Mars and Cancer. And again, here, you can look at the negative and there are difficult aspects to this transit, which is happening. I don't have the date right in front of me. I guess I could look real quick, but uh, it's March 29th right now, and Mars went into Cancer a few days ago. I can tell you that. And then let's see, looking like it's going to be in Cancer till May 20 20th. Yeah, it changes sometime between May 20th and May 21st. Um, so it might be overnight there. I'm not sure, but so we got a little less than um, 2 months for Mars and Cancer, and I was thinking of the theme of cutting cords. Which is about letting go of those relationships that we need to let go of, and it could be something that is ongoing with somebody in the present, or it could be an old relationship that's still kind of got a grip on us mentally or emotionally. So, how does Mars in Cancer? Why is that good? Why is that a good time for cutting cords? And just for those of you who are not familiar with that concept, uh, there is a concept which fully believe in, that we form actual energetic chords with people we're close to on the etheric level or the astral level. Normally, family members, people we're in a sexual relationship with, or just other close friends, or maybe mentors. And so we form these actual energetic bonds with people, and we're forming them all the time. And you know, there are, there's even an exercise that I came across about, at the end of the day, uh, just I think I think it was invoking the archangel Michael and just having him, cut all the cords that you formed during that day, on each sort of, your right, your left, your front, your back, your top, your bottom, because we're forming them all the time. Uh, and then there are those that we form that are so, um, just part of our being that even when it's time to kind of move on, we can't. So uh, the moon is definitely rules these kinds of etheric or astral cords, because the moon is about deep bonding, and it's also about the past. The moon likes the past. It likes security and safety. So yeah, the moon is all about these cords. They're not really a Venus thing, even though some of them may be from sexual relationships. But Venus, Mars, it's more of a, they're more of a on a equal footing there. But the yeah, the the chords are definitely a moon thing, more than anything else. And then Mars, one of the significations of Mars is severing, or cutting. It's the god of war, so he's got a sword. He's got to cut things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be violent. It's just really an energetic thing that is part of the, say, the repertoire of Mars. And wherever Mars is in the zodiac, he has the same repertoire, of cutting, of pushing, I don't know, burning, um, you know, running, doing it's kind of aggressive things, setting boundaries. Mars doesn't really change his repertoire, but what he can do, what we can encourage, is uh, when he's in this uh, a, s- a zodiac sign which is ruled by another planet, to kind of play by that planet's rules. So when Mars is in the domain of the moon, then hopefully the best thing we can do is to do that Mars kind of repertoire under the context of what the moon desires. So how can Mars serve the moon, basically? And I think Mars can serve the moon in terms of these bonds is cutting, obviously cutting the appropriate ones, because we don't want Mars to uh, cut the ones that we want to hold on to. So that's the danger there. You see Mars in Cancer or in the fourth house, and you think of trouble in the home, family conflict, anger around the mother, um, could be like fighting for your family, these kinds of things. Uh, but like I said, Mars is going to do what Mars is going, needs to do something. So you need to put Mars to work. So if you don't put them to work in a constructive manner, then there's more of a likelihood that he's going to go to work in a destructive manner, because he can't shut down Mars. He's got to do his thing. So to consciously, I think when you have a transit like this, like Mars in Cancer, it the the potential difficulty of the transit behooves us to really uh, make it really conscious, and to think about how we can use um, that Mars energy in service of the moon, in service of forming deep bonds, or ending bonds that no longer serve their purpose. Because if we don't end those bonds, it's going to be harder to form the new bonds. And look at the house it's happening in your chart. Now I've got it happening in my 11th house, friends and groups, hopes and dreams, and stuff like that. And just yesterday I was in an area that I don't normally get to, so I took the opportunity to find a couple of crystal shops, that sell like crystal stuff and witchy stuff, and um talked to one lady who's just buying this shop, and got into a great conversation, and we started talking about me doing a class, maybe in the summer, when the shop passes over into her hands, and kind of what she would like to see, and it was great. And it was really cool, because I had actually just been thinking of doing a class, because I've been yeah. So and like a live class, is appealing to me. So yeah, so Mars in my 11th house is about sort of asserting myself with that Mars energy. Going out there, introducing myself. This is what I do. You know, this is what I'd like to do. Uh, in terms of forming bonds, with new friends and groups, related to my 10th house activity. So, the 11th house kind of comes naturally after the 10th house, and kind of supports and extends the 10th house. So, that's great. And, as far as for me cutting cords, I mean, I definitely have cords to cut, both from recent uh, relationships, at least one, and then, older stuff as well. And like, as I said before, I think that works hand in hand with forming the new bonds. Kind of letting the old bonds go, and forming the new bonds. So yeah, Mars and Cancer, cutting cords. If you try it, let me know what you think. I'd be really curious. A couple of things to remember when if you and there's you can look this up. I mean, there's a lot of rituals of cord cutting. visualizing it, or you could write letters, you could draw a picture and tear up the picture, or bury something, or burn something, or there's a lot of ways you ritualize it and make it more powerful. But just remember that it's really not about so much the other person. Like it's about the cord is in you. Okay, so I think the best way to make it work is to take 100% responsibility for the chords. Like nobody can hook you unless you're hookable. And then to look at why we're holding on. So what needs uh is it meeting to keep this thing going? And I think we'll find that it's stuff like and need for connection, a need for empathy, a need for healing, and then kind of separating those needs out from the strategy of uh, continuing to interact with this person, or thinking about this person, and strategizing different ways you could meet those needs. So I think that's important too. Doing the ritual is great, um, but it doesn't hurt to have to kind of look at it, with that kind of psychological acuity, and see, why am I holding on to this uh, relationship, whether it's just ended 6 weeks ago, or 6 months ago, or 60 years ago. You know, um, so yeah, if this makes sense to you, if it feels like it might be a good time to cut some cords, then I'd love to hear about it. If not, check out where Mars is in your chart, and it does need to be expressed. Like if you're looking at a natal chart, for instance, my Mars is in the third house, so like I need to communicate with Mars in the third house, and if I don't communicate, then that kind of energy is going to get backed up. So it's the same thing with looking at transits. Look where the Mars is, and where you need to be taking action, but in a Cancerian way. And yeah, I don't want to go through all 12 houses thinking about that, but um, that's yeah, that's something for your homework. So I hope you got something from this, and I will see you next time. All right, take care and be well.